Hello，大家好啊，我是梅师傅啊，我这个最近快回国了嘛，然后我现在是我一个好大哥家啊，然后再过大概4个小时左右我就要上飞机回国了。然后昨天我有消息看到啊，就是这个 ESO 的最新 DLC 啊，在6月份的时候准备要发售了啊，我看到网上有很多大家都开始发这个视频了，但是好像没有什么人解说啊，然后我就偷个懒啊，我就边看视频边讲。然后这样大家就听我唠唠嗑嘛，就以我仅限的这个一些老滚的这个知识啊，然后就是给大家分享一下啊。就是首先这个可以看到它右上角不是说它这个它这个活动马上就要开始了嘛，对吧？然后在5分钟之后，他们找了一个叫自称为昆西的一个厨师啊，给大家做一道菜。我是之前前面我是略微看了一下的啊，我觉得这还蛮搞笑的，就给你整点异域风情搞个吃播什么的，蛮有意思的。不过呢，这段我就是打算跳过了啊，这个因为它就是不是很重要啊，不是很重要，咱们直接5分钟之后见啊，我直接跳了。我们看一下它的成品啊，看一下它成品，怎么就突然就尽情享用了？烤饼，好像说什么培根，然后什么生菜烤饼，然后这一座就是听说啊，就是它的那个 DLC 标题，我们看一下啊，确认一下。等不及了，3、2、1。一看这个标志就是莫拉的这个。
Welcome to the Elder Scrolls Online 2023 Global Reveal.
莫拉是
Whether
知
you're
识的
coming from
魔
our
神嘛。
developer direct or just joining us now, we've got an incredible show today. Earlier today, ZeniMax Online Studio Director Matt Farrer shared some exciting features from the ESO community.
我不在乎。
A new playable class.
他这有全新的职业奥术师嘛，
Called
这个
the
还是蛮期待
Archivist.
的。然后看他是，因为他这个 DLC 名字叫那个什么 Necrome 还是什么玩意儿，我忘了。就反正那个城市啊，它是这个黑精灵的故乡，尘封的8大城市之一。然后那个地方是什么意思呢？就是说那个地方就是就是死者为大嘛，就是黑精灵他们死后就会有一些传统的节日，传统的一些习俗都在那里举行，就是相当于他们的超大型牧场啊，然后是一个非常重视礼节的一个地图啊，一个地方，就是这个 DLC 这个名字。然后你看这个奥术师呢，是吧？这个留给ZOS 留给 ESO 的这个颜色也不多了啊，对吧？你看像什么巫师用电啊，然后这个圣殿用光啊，然后这个夜刃用影和血，对吧？然后龙骑用火和毒，是不是？然后这个守望用这个自然和冰啊，这些加在一起，对吧？还有死灵操纵实体之类的，对吧？留给这个 ESO 可以使用的颜色和这个东西不多了啊。我之前预测会是出一个德鲁伊，结果他没出德鲁伊，就是这个他出了一个奥术师啊。我们看看他，就是我们要明白，就是 ESO 它这个游戏它绝对啊，它会运用一些之前版本里面出现过的一些比较漂亮的技能，它给你改个模或改个颜色什么的，变成一个新职业的一个技能是非常有可能的啊，因为像死灵之前他们都是这个有这方面的这个嫌疑的，所以说我们看一看啊，就是在这个预告片当中，我们也仔细的揣摩一下啊，有没有哪些就是一些这个人物或 CG 啊之类的，有可能会成为这个奥术师他的这个技能，我们就看一下啊。
Matt also revealed that the new chapter,
就是刚才这个死灵之地
will take you back to a familiar location in Tamriel.
OK 尘封省，
And
对，
while there, you'll run into a familiar
熟
face,
面孔
a
的
well-known Daedric prince from the Skyrim Dragonborn DLC.
这就是莫拉嘛，
That's just a taste of what's to
又要
come.
玩弄
We've
知
got a
识
lot
了
of。ground to cover, so let's get started. Once again, it's my great pleasure to introduce the Elder Scrolls Online's creative director and my friend.
我可以为了
Rich Lane.
杀死三牙海象的1000种方法干掉那个米拉克，是吧？这就
Hey,
是
Rich.
莫拉
Pete. Good to see you here.
Yeah, it's so great. Can't
停
wait.
止这个你们的寒暄
Before
啊，
I go
我
into
就直
any more
接
detail,
快进了。
we've got a great way to introduce you to the mood and feel. Can't wait for you all to.
进一段 CG 啊，我们看一下。 丧尸大军。我靠！我严重怀疑他这一条线是个斩杀技能，就刚才他 book 里面就蹦出来那条绿光，我严重怀疑他斩杀技能。双十是吧？也很符合这个时代潮流。这个黑精灵大叔怎么动不动他长得有点像那个《神奇动物在哪里》那个杰克船长演的那个角色。他刚才还用了一个就是好像这个披风一样的，你看到没有？披风一样的这个技能可以，好像是可以治疗。反正我们都知道嘛，就是 ESO 就是单个职业所有的位置都可以玩，就是不管你是什么职业，你的这个坦克呀、奶妈还是 DPS 你都能玩。这些应该是莫拉的教徒吧，对吧？应该是莫拉的教徒。他看上去好眼熟，但是我就是在嘴边说不上来。他好像是死地里的那个红卫妹妹，这挡的有点严实，也有可能是新角色，也有可能是新角色。不是刚才那个黑精灵。可以，刚才那个又是一个技能预定的 ，spam 技能是吧？为什么单体道才出来？我靠！被莫拉传唤走了。一看就是那个龙骨里面也有嘛，就是莫拉的那个秘境、秘典啊，我们看那个黑书嘛，可以进到这个地方。大眼泡子，对，很客气的感觉。少女，你渴望力量吗
？That was awesome. Those mushroom towers really take me back.
Yep.
And some powerful moments in there. But let's start with breaking
你们
down
早
the
点说，
story.
我们也不至于老回忆。
Everything centers around Hermaeus Mora. We've explored small pieces of who this prince is in a few zones in ESO up to this point, but there are complicated data.
这还用透露吗？
Mora
应该
is the
人尽
knower
皆
of
知吧？
unknown
也
and
不能这么
hoards
说。
knowledge and secrets in their realm. Some of these secrets are just too dangerous for any being to know. There are hidden powers that threaten Mora's realm of Apocrypha, with the ultimate goal of uncovering one of these secrets. A secret so important and so dangerous that if discovered, it can unravel all of reality.
This isn't just Camriel that's in trouble. This is all of Nerd.
Yes, absolutely.
So where do our players fit into the mix?
Players are essentially being tested by Mora to see if they are worthy to help aid them. So over the course of this adventure, players will become sort of a protector of this ultimate secret that these hidden powers are searching for. There's also an opportunity for players to seek out other knowledge if they wish, to dig into some of the origins of our new playable class.
他不会出一个什么黑书
Cool
的
new
技能
playable
串
class. I
我
am
靠，
so
这个
in.
武器还
I
挺
hope
帅
a
的。
lot of our players are
相
as
信我
well.
啊
Now, we're
这
heading
就是
back
这
to
些
Morrowind this year.
MMORPG
It's
啊，
not
它
the
是1%他不会做无用功的，它这个 CG 里面出现的这些东西，绝对会放到游戏里。
Yes, sir. We're going to be exploring the eastern portion of Morrowind, specifically the Talvani Peninsula.
泰尔瓦尼
Still
半
home to the Dunmer or the Dark Elves, so you're going to see that familiar alien landscape with the giant mushrooms and all the like. But it's got a very different feel than any of the locations that we've previously
这
explored.
对瓦登菲
And
尔
I'm guessing
吗
the city we
有什么不
saw
一
that
样？
was Necrom, yes?
Yep.
And we haven't seen that since the Elder Scrolls Arena.
Main city in the chapter, and there's from all over Morrowind lore around this. It's a city of the dead, where Dunmer families from all over Morrowind bury their deceased in these elaborate ceremonies. But there's also some really just wild rumors as to the origins of Necrom. It's a crazy old city, but I'll leave that up to CJ to kind of dig into in just a little bit.
Now, finally, Necrom isn't the only cool location that players are going to get to explore. So tell us about the zone that I'm pretty familiar with, and some of our players will be too, and that's Apocrypha.
一点
Yes, the Oblivion Realm, home to forbidden knowledge.
Also home to the know-it-all Daedric prince that we just saw, Hermaeus Mora. It's always great to revisit other areas of Tamriel that we haven't seen in an Elder Scrolls game, but I know the folks at ZOS like to build everything from scratch. So when it comes to the Prince's Realm, it's not just like a carbon copy of what we've seen before, right?
The Apocrypha that you know and love from Skyrim it's definitely there. The dark inky waters, the towering stacks of books, to explore new areas, love putting our own spin on things, and we want to make this our own and give the players new fun things to explore and learn.
So exciting. Sounds like a great blend of the old and the new when it comes to like the biomes and the places the players are going to be exploring in Necrom. And in fact, let's explore more of Necrom right now with more details from the team.
For the regions in Morrowind and Apocrypha that have been explored in previous trip down memory time was the Telvanni Peninsula of its coastline, almost, and distinctive fungus-covered architecture and general aesthetics also returned, as does the alien players. Morrowind was their first introduction environments of Test 3, ripe for wandering. You may feel walking through it are paramount. In terms of differences, we've crafted a modern view of the city of Necrom, not seen since 1994. Getting to work on something elvish that predates the tribunal is particularly interesting. Necrom is rest stories about the city's foundations, which may or may not be true. But what's definitely true is that the Dark Elves have a particular reverence for the city and its solemn purpose in their culture. It's naturally Scrolls location. More Jill, whose bones
他不是相当于重新讲了一遍吗？刚才那个橙色衣服大哥讲的
whose bones supposedly lay the foundations for the city.
怪不得海武变成
Entering Necrom for the
刚才
first
那
time, you're
个
bound
一
to
半
notice the towering
金色
rib-like
一
rock
半蓝色
formations
的那个微
which
微克干
envelop
掉
the
了。
city.
他是伪神
The
吗？审
Dunmer
判三系
have
之一
even
吗？
make your own decision, and yet fit in with the next important elements are there, as well as the detailed mosaic operation from the cloud. Whenever we sure that the expanded explored areas of Apocrypha with on a coast feel foreign into the most alien landscape possible. In crafting the two traditional ideas of good or evil as many other Daedric princes do. Likewise, Hermaeus Mora's explore the such as this. Realms of Oblivion. It's a repository. It is intended to feel like the environment of life.
We knew we had to deliver a story that lives up to this location, and the team had a lot of fun bringing this story to life. If you're bliss in the middle of an ancient hierarchical system, there for us to Morrowind. Taken care of since it's an integral part of the Dark isn't controlled by any one mystical and powerful mages in the entirety. Certified library nerd, so excited. You'll be accompanied by Laramel the Wise, a powerful mage who works with Hermaeus Mora, the Prince of Forbidden Knowledge. Notice a relationship that's been not for respect. Please survive in Apocrypha for a long time. Knowledge is immortal.
就是说有一个强大的法师，他跟莫拉共事，还不是听命于他。我就有点扯，基本上都是被魔神玩弄的，我觉得。就是你觉得魔神跟你关系好，那是因为你觉得。
They may not necessarily attack you, but if you know just in Apocrypha's library, well, look dangerous. Seek planless Dromora, Torvsard's motive, who's a dark prowl the Telvanni Peninsula, working for Magister Shelreni Barrow. Shelreni seeks to climb the ranks of her house by any means necessary, even working with anyone who will give her the power to achieve her goals. Not everything will be hidden and mysterious, though. If you've played ESO before, there are a bunch of familiar faces for you to find throughout this chapter.
那肯定的，就是他说这个游玩之后会遇到很多老面孔，这是肯定的，因为每个 DLC 地图都能看到什么雷诺兄妹、斯蒂本，然后斯蒂本这个主仆，然后纳玉他们，然后还有好多，对吧？这些都是属于是比我们主角还主角，我们缺席他们都不缺席的。这样的NPC.
I'll know that the Elder Scrolls Online Necrom is available for pre-purchase right now. While the chapter will launch on PC, Mac, and consoles this June, we've got
一般的话
plenty
就
of
是我自己最开始买这个 DLC 预购的时候，就是我第一个买的 DLC 预购是什么？是黑森林那个版本的。然后当时我买的是豪华版，结果给的那些坐骑和宠物，我个人觉得都特别拉，所以说后面高岛我买的就是普通版的预购。所以说这一次。这个 Necrom 我也会买这个普通版的预购，我不会买这个进阶版了，因为我自己心里啊，就仅代表我个人看法啊，就是我觉得，他的这个给的这些东西啊，它肯定不如箱子， 肯定不如箱子里给的坐骑啊这些东西。那我为啥不直接抽箱子呢？对吧？我匀那点钱我就抽箱子不好吗？我买这个豪华版干嘛？我是这么理解的啊，就是你要有钱你随便买啊。然后他这块写的是这个 Shadow， 看看好像是 Shadow Over， 就是 Shadow Over 这个
upgrades, which will provide you with the latest Necrom chapter.
就是说这个
No matter
阴影
what
覆
version
盖
you
啊，阴影
pre-purchase,
覆
you'll
盖
receive
尘封
these
的
items.
这种感觉。
While some will
看看这些坐骑，估计现在游戏内也能看了，就只是我最近不太方便上而已。这个衣服看上去还不错啊，但是这个坐骑和宠物嘛，就
Be unlocked at launch
算
time.
了
If
算
you
了，真的
pre-purchase
算了。
Necrom, you'll also receive
这个我就不看了啊，
That's
我
in
就根本不
addition
想
to other pre-purchase items that
这
come
个还
with the
看着还不
deluxe
错，
upgrade
现实
and
赠送
collection.
这个。
separate from our pre-purchase
Purchase item.
不过它以
by
后出肯
Bethesda
定
Gear
出有
Store.
类似于这种箱子的这种
We have
感觉
The
的，
new
就莫
are
拉
out
这
now.
种触手啊、大眼睛啊这些的，所以说我就到时候再琢磨吧。
Easily been the #1 most requested feature from players since the Necromancer back in 2019 with Elsewhere.
Well, I mean, why don't we give the
你
player
自己也知道，2019年的时候，这个死灵法出完之后，那么多年都没有新职业，我靠。
Play and experience ESO.
那当然了，
It's
新
the
职业。
7th playable
哎呦，
class
这肯定
and
给自己
channels
加
the
抗性
power
的
of
啊，
Apocrypha
这
to
个
create
自身
ancient
buff。
runes of power.
可以。
This weird
这
knowledge
是
lets
我
them
感
do
觉
some truly
刚才那个应该
fantastic
是
things.
spam 或者像
Destroying their
阴影
enemies
部
with
的那样的。
runic magic, summoning tentacles from the abyss, healing their
哎呦，
allies, and some even protecting themselves from the worst the Daedric Planes have to offer.
Of course, what everyone really wants to know is, how do you play the Arcanist? And we've got just the person to tell us.
接下来就有
With
请
the
没试
Arcanist,
过啊。
we wanted to keep the basic form of the class familiar to everyone, so there's something for all
可惜
play
啊，官方
styles,
没有请
while
我，
letting us
请
be
了
more
这个
creative
史
with
蒂
the
芬
abilities
先生。
themselves. Curative rune forms.
还有什么？
Herald of Tone
五级使者、一点士
and
兵、
curative rune forms.
药剂符师。
Each line focuses on a different
帅
aspect
啊
of the
我
game:
靠！
offense, defense, and support. The challenge we embraced was making these abilities feel unique compared
别
to
听
previous
他乱
classes.
讲啊，官方只
Not
能
so
给你一
systematic.
个大概的这个预览啊。他这3条线，我跟你说，肯定防御里头也有点攻击，然后攻击里头也有点治疗这种感觉的。就大家不用，就是等他真实上线了之后，看玩家自己的水平啊，看玩家自己的水平。哎呦，这传送门有点意思啊，
Use these portals for
有
greater
点夜刃那
exploration.
个感觉。其实夜刃也有位
Impact
移
is a
瞬
bit
移
more
技能，
direct. It has you
然后那
infuse
个
your
沃登
arm
也有
with
瞬移技
unstable
能。
magic, transforming it into a tentacular weapon as you thrust forward, damaging and debilitating your foes. I'm also super excited to share that we're doing something very different
就
for
是
the Arcanist.
别让官方教你
Combo
玩游
point
戏啊！我
system.
刚才的意思就是别让官方教你玩游戏，你要自己
Abilities
玩
will
游
build
戏，你
points,
不要他说啥
or
就
you
是。
spend
实
them,
际上很多
giving them an
一
extra
些
bit of
细
oomph
节就
by
是玩家
enhancing
钻
the
研的
hard
更
end
深
of
的
the。ability. We're aiming for this to be something that all players can easily get a handle on, so no one should worry that this class will be too technical to play. You can't let too handle on, so no one should worry that this class will be too technical to play. We're initially coming up with the
简
Arcanist.
单
We had
意
a
思，
ton
他
of
这意思
ideas
就
and
是说
inspiration
循环简
from
单
all
呗。
sorts of places. Movies, comic references, and every feel for how the abilities should look at tone. In which book you glance at numerous bits of the black books, feel for how the abilities should look and sound. You ask more. One that led us to now the ancient, not vice versa. Maybe a friend who will wield the same deep magic
所
that
以
you
他这有
learned.
点像那个魔
There
童
may
假
even
修
be
是吧？
some unforeseen
拿一
enemies
本
that
布
have
看
tomes
书。
worth of forbidden arcane power to throw at you. This is just the first page of the story of this new class. We've had a ton of fun making it, Tamriel, and the realms beyond, alongside.
Okay, Rich, now let's talk about some new features and systems. Start with, any chance there's going to be some new companions?
Yes, in
哦，
fact,
新的旅
we've
伴。
got 2
暂停一下啊，这块有一个黑精灵大叔，还有一个应该是
new
女性亚种
companions
人吧，
coming to
看
ESO
他
with this
的
Necrom
这
chapter.
个
And for those that don't
衣
know
服
who
对吧？
or what
还
companions
有这
are,
个
they're
发
your
型，我觉得
permanent
应该是女
adventuring
性的，
buddies.
不太清
Someone
楚啊，
that's
一切
at
都
your
应该
beck
以
and
文
call
字版为
whenever
主，
you
我这只是
want
很主观
to
的，
help you explore
就
Tamriel.
看一下这个视
The
频，给
feedback
大
from
家就
players
是唠唠
since
嗑啊。
the inception back in 2021 has been
Tell us about the
he is an Argonian warden.
What?
The first companion is called Sharp as Night, and he is an Argonian
he is.
warden
那这
who
个
is
他
a
这
bit of
两
a
个那都
mercenary
是
and an
男性。
enigma. He originated
唯
from
利是图，
Blackmarsh,
真是
but his past is lost to him, and he's a lot more
他
reserved.
是男
You're
性
going to have to
对
a
不起。
Redguard male and a little bit of a crazy
上次两个女
fatherly
性，这次
figure
两个男性
professor. Think Willy Wonka meets Dumbledore, and he's got this really singular focus on the pursuit, with Xander being so focused on this pursuit of knowledge He's an arcanist himself, so you'll be able
啊，
to
我就想说，那这
really
按
isn't
刚才那
a
个描
lot
述，
more
这个
reserved
奥术
time.
师
An Argonian
对，
warden.
他是亚龙人守望者，还有一个亚龙人守望者，还有一个
Dumbledore.
是这
So
个
focused
红
a
卫
bit
奥术
Like
师。
public dungeons delve
不好
around
意
30.
思，死灵先生，下个版本再听我的
always so
解
much
说。
And players won't
scrolls chat.
have the side content and begin their Shadow over Morrowind adventure.
Awesome. I will definitely be checking that out. Before we wrap things up, let's talk about some changes that you're planning to the ESO calendar.
Absolutely, so evolving. As a team, we're doing. Over the years, we have made many changes based on these evaluations. But one of the fundamental possibly can today. There's so much to do, participate in, solo, creating emerged over time. In other words, we want to focus on polish and
其实
iterate
他说这
more
段
on
话
core
我还挺有感
ideas,
触
be
的
it stories or systems.
尤其是关中的那个事情出来之后啊，就是我一直秉持一个态度，就是我经常直播的时候我也讲，我就说我把这个，我不把它当成一个什么艺术品或者什么伟大工作来看，我就把汉化就当成一个普通的一个工程来看，对吧？那第一阶段它工程你没干好，我能说是我直接就结尾款让这些人拍拍屁股走人？那肯定不能。所以说他肯定会这个，他肯定会再把之前的那些人都招回来，然后做这个更新啊，做这个调整啥的。所以说经常有人说，哎呀，这个按他们这什么，他们很懒惰，怎么样，对吧？那没满足这个，就咱们就把他最坏的看，就单纯的把他当成一个资本家来看，对吧？他没完成这个任务，我凭什么放他们走，对不对？就是大家很多东西啊，就是慢慢来就好，不管是你玩游戏还是游戏上的一些内容的更新啊，就千万别着急，对吧？你喜欢就尝试去接受，然后你不喜欢你撤退就行了。就之前直播间还有很多这个，他11月份这个官方中文嘛，然后这个有好多的这个这个新手玩家还是在问我，就是说啊，这官方中文现在怎么样了？我能不能玩了呀？我跟你讲，热爱的早就玩了。你就根本就不等它干嘛呀，对吧？你只有不要听别人讲，你只有这个自己亲自去试试，你才知道，对吧？我觉得它是一个非常值得一试的这个游戏，对吧？而且我经常说嘛，就是你听那某些老玩家在那满嘴跑火车，我跟你说，多年之后你退了他都不一定退，你知道吧？所以说你要有自己的判断能力啊，不能就是想怎么样就怎么样，对不对？然后刚好看到他说这个什么可调和套装制作台，是不是就是一整套的？就是我一个制作台，我所有东西全能造，有可能。预制的队伍查找器，他这块没有细说哈。
Come on.
An endless dungeon with a buddy sound.
Oh, sounds good.
We'll have a lot more info on this later in this year, but I'm excited about this.
Sounds very cool. Well, Rich, I want to thank you for all the detail, and I sure
Represent. I'd like what it is to you all.
我看一眼，
We'll have
带上
Come on, Rich, we got to give them more than that.
Okay, fine. How does an endless dungeon with a buddy sound?
Oh, sounds good. Very
Is excited. They're incredible. Of the entire make ESO and
Gina to
In addition to files for quarterly copy to overlays, battleground weekends. In fact, our couple days.
So is great into PvP, 12-player trials, crafting, questing, or even fishing and house decorating. There's a guild or 5 for everyone and every playstyle. You can find your first or next guild who is
And in-person adventure. If you want to learn the DLC and Update 37 live on Twitch Friday. So be sure the
这是
DLC
几号
and
？1月27号，1月27号美东时间的话，那我还在飞机
Update
上，
37
到时候再等落地再说
background
啊，
because
落地再说。
online retext you. Even
再
more
提醒
info.
你一遍。OK，以上就是本期内容啊，咱们有机会继续唠啊。这个我就马上传完视频我就上飞机了，到时候咱们国内见啊，国内见。